produce season. So let's talk about it first kind of on a high level. If I'm new in the transportation world and I'm a shipper, but I'm not shipping produce. What is produce season? Why do I need to worry about it?
So produce season is a period of time where it's essentially a prime opportunity. It's when we harvest all of our produce, right? And when we receive most of our produce from other nations. So it typically impacts a lot of Southern California, portions of Eastern Texas, and then primarily impacts Georgia, Florida are the key hot areas where you'll see the most impact through produce season. And what that means is like we said, it's a prime time to harvest produce. So what does that mean? People who are harvesting produce, people who are producing produce, if you will, require a lot of truck capacity. So a lot of drivers will flock to these areas because produce has a shelf life. It can't just sit in crates forever. It has to get moved to a grocery store. So what they'll do is they'll send a lot of trucking capacity flocks to these areas because they know the rates are going to be great because these people can't afford to sit on their produce. So they're going to pay top dollar to get it off their docks and into grocery stores as quickly as they can. So if you're a shipper and you're not moving produce, but you do ship into or out of the Southeast or Southwest, this could impact you. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you got it all. We're done, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Scene.
No, I think, if you're a shipper, I think the biggest thing is just recognize where you are, where are your shipping facilities, and if it's your home base right where you're located, just pay attention to what's around you. Josh used the word harvested, whether it's an actual fruit or vegetable, just what gets harvested in your area, right? Mm-hmm. If you're in the Midwest, it's corn, it's soybeans, and that capacity is going to change in the fall of the year. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, it's things like apples and stuff. There's other items, potatoes, things like that. So, the major markets are definitely the Southeast, the Southwest, the southern markets of Texas, especially with imports that come from Mexico. But really throughout the entire U.S., there's typically something taking place in your area. And it's just a matter of what that might be. And then it's just paying attention and at times knowing that capacity is going to change.
Right. So we kind of kick off, March, April, I would say, with that southern region, Florida, the border cities of Mexico and Texas, Laredo and McAllen, Texas. So, a lot of trucks heading into that area, right? So if you're shipping out, even if you're not in produce, if you're not shipping that type of stuff, just understanding that there's a lot of freight, the market has shifted, and there's a lot of freight coming out of your area. And not necessarily as many trucks needed. So you'll see an increase of freight, of cost really for that couple month span. Yeah,
exactly. If you're not shipping produce and even if you're shipping open deck freight, I know quite a few different open deck carriers that will, for 9 months of the year or 10 months of the year, they're running their flatbeds, their step decks, and they park them and they switch out into their refrigerated equipment because of that short shelf life that Josh was talking about, mm-hmm. right? They know that for a month or two, they can jump in that refrigerated trailer and make a lot more money per mile than they can run in their open deck equipment. So you take away that capacity from a different piece of equipment,
yep.
and it's shifting over into refrigerated. So now all of a sudden your capacity for open deck or flatbed gets a little tighter.
Right. And even dry vans kind of get affected too, right? Now, not all produce. A lot of produce has to be on reefer or refrigerated trailers, but at the same time, you can load up some dry vans here and there. Can load up, you said open decks, or some carriers park their trailers to go handle that produce. So, it can put a wrinkle or a little hiccup in the market across the whole industry.
It really does. And I think, Josh, maybe you can talk to it from the customer side, but from the carrier side and that capacity side, yes, we see it change. If Florida's getting really busy and there's a lot of, let's just call it citrus shipping out of that region, your trucks that are, across the rest of the country, trucks will want to get into that Florida region because they know they can get really good paying freight out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're a shipper or customer based in that area, your inbound freight might be a lot cheaper to bring trucks, bring material down into that region, but outbound the rates are going to continue to increase until we get kind of past that peak of that shipping volume.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head there, saying that your inbound freight can be cheaper if you're a receiver or a shipper that's in the southern Florida area or in that southeastern region of the United States. Your freight rates can be cheaper if you're routing your own freight inbound, or if you're a shipper that's potentially located in the Midwest and you have customers that are positioned in the Southeast. Your rates to get your freight to them is significantly cheaper, and vice versa. So, if in a perfect world, it would be fantastic to time all of your freight spending and your freight needs around the seasons that benefit you the most, right? So if you could get all your customers in the Southeast, get all their product delivered to them during produce season, you probably would, because it would just make the most sense from a cost standpoint. But the world doesn't work like that, right? So I think the biggest thing is just for shippers to be aware and prepared to know that this is when it starts, this is when it ends. We typically see it take off a little bit in March, and then it's probably, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, it's probably full swing May, June, I'd probably say.
Yeah, and typically it'll start in the southeast, and that's usually your first areas that really start to pick up, and then it kind of moves across to the southwest.
Okay.
And then, again, the northern half of the U.S. experiences it typically more in the fall.
Right.
So slowly, gradually heads north throughout the whole year.
Yep.
So the best thing you can do is really just plan. Right. I mean, just be that voice of information to your customers. If your customer's asking you, why is it so much to get a truckload of product that costs, 2/3 this 3 months ago, here's why. So, but I mean, if anybody who deals with this industry on a pretty regular basis probably has a pretty good feel for it. If you have somebody who's in a new position who may not be aware of it, happens every year. It's the one thing I've seen through the highs and lows of the trucking industry since I've started here 7 years ago that is absolutely a certainty. No matter what happens in the market, produce season is going to happen. Right.
And so, I mean, any tips for shippers? I mean, we talked a little bit about, being communication, understanding the market, the hot times.
I think it's understanding who you're working with today, right? Whether you're working directly with carriers or whoever that transportation provider is. There's going to be high times of the year where it's really, or hard times to find capacity for that provider, or there's times that are going to be easy. So it's, having that open dialogue with them and understanding what both of you are going through to kind of help balance it, right? It's like if you lean into your carriers to just have that capacity all the time, we know there's going to be struggles at that peak time, right?
I think diversifying a little bit is probably going to be your best bet to make it to something like that, because if you have really good relationships with some asset-based carriers, they may help you out from a rating standpoint, or they may honor a rate for you because they have a really long-standing relationship with a particular customer. But also, like you had said, there might be customers who work really closely with open deck carriers, and those guys drop their equipment to pick up refrigerated equipment or dry van equipment because it's going to make them more money. That's where it might be nice to have a broker or two in your pocket who can still bring you the capacity you're looking for, and you don't have to just sit there holding your hands, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, right? Those partnerships are a big piece of it. And then, when it comes to having the freight, it's like anything. If you have more flexibility, right? If you're shipping produce, most of us know there's not a lot of flexibility, right? It's got to go, it's got to get out of the fields, and it's got to get to the stores, or and so forth. But if you're shipping other materials and you can have some flexibility, that's going to allow your current providers to, or maybe your repeat carriers or repeat drivers to get back into your area and haul that maybe a little more price competitive for you.
Yeah, definitely understanding, like, if you're a shipper, what is a must move, and really prioritizing, like, hey, can we ship this at a later date, a couple weeks, month down the road because of the capacity constraints with produce, or is it a must move and it's got to go now? Just understanding that. I think also kind of the more advantages, or the more attractive your freight can be, if it's pickup and delivery times, the more even outside of the produce can attractive it can be to a driver. More likely, your load can be.
Simplicity is the best thing.
Yeah.
If it's real simple, hey, we're open from 7 to 5, show up, we'll get you loaded. And then the receiving end, it's the same thing. Hey, we're open 7 to 5, just show up, we'll get you unloaded. That makes life way easier, and it's way more appealing than okay, you got an 8 a.m. appointment, it's firm. If you miss it by 15 minutes, we have to reschedule you, and that might be a week out. And then it's the same thing on the delivery end. You have a 9 a.m. appointment the next day, but it's a 600-mile trip, but you can't miss it. And if you do, you're sitting there for 2 days. The simplicity of things makes freight much more appealing to drivers.
Agreed.
more
Anything
appealing to me,
else?
too.
I mean, I think we have some content out there on the Learning Hub for sure. And I don't know if it's a full article about produce, like and the kind of schedule throughout the year of kind of when the areas are affected. But we'll make sure we'll put it in the comments here below, or whatever content we do have.
Yeah, we've got some refrigerated content out there for sure, and I'm sure there's some pieces of it on produce, but there's a lot of information out there too, and we'll definitely add to it.
Anything else talking about the produce side? I think we kind of covered it.
Yeah. I mean, then like you said, we have content out there. So if anybody's interested, just head to atsinc.com and check out the Learning Hub. And we've definitely got videos and articles and blogs that cover produce season and what to do and what to expect.
All right.
Yeah, don't be surprised by it. It comes every year. It might come a few weeks earlier, a few weeks later, but it's going to happen. And the volume might change, right? If there's a big drought in an area, that's going to change the amount of produce, but it's still going to happen, right? So just being aware of those things and then planning accordingly will help you with your budget and your costs for the year.
Yeah, pre-planning. Even trying to avoid hey, we have 4 loads to move tomorrow or the end of this week. Like,
right.
Can you be more proactive? Like, give it to somebody, give your partner transportation partner 4 or 5 days or a week notice to try to get that volume, because the more that they can work ahead, the better it is. They can secure the trucks, and even at that time, even in a high supply demand rate kind of area, the more planning they can have, the cheaper the rates can be possibly too.
Yeah, definitely going to be able to secure capacity better.
Yeah.
Right?